historically, there hasn't, it's kind of just been superintendent, president, and clerk that have kind of just, most of the time, just done CSBA. We didn't do CSBA this year. So last year, James had mentioned it to me about this coast to coast, and it's not a training, it's an advocacy trip to the Capitol to advocate for students in our district at a federal level. And he had mentioned it, and we didn't end up going last year. He brought it up again, and he brought it up, and I was like, that's really interesting. So we decided that that might be something worthwhile to explore. I think that we've talked about advocacy. What can we do to kind of start bringing ideas and helping our district out? What are we doing? And we thought that would be a good way to start, kind of test the waters and see if that's something that we want to continue to do year after year. If there's something that we want to do in regards to, as an entire board, kind of planning out what we would like to do as far as trainings, advocacy trips, who's going to go, all those things. I think maybe July meeting would be a good time to do that, if that's something that we wanted to do going forward. If so, any comments or feedback on that, I guess.
My only feedback is I have concern about advocacy at the federal level, since there seems to be no real buy-in from the federal right now in terms of funding. If time and money might not be better spent at a state level.
Okay.
I don't know if that was considered. Do you know what agenda CSBA plans on pushing as far as advocacy when you go back there?
I don't know exactly. Do you know? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it.
Is it? What's that?
Is it a CSBA event?
It is CSBA.
It is CSBA.
Yeah, it's CSBA hosted. So this year there are 4 focus areas: are workforce and career technical education, children's online safety and student privacy, and then federal education appropriations funding, and then artificial intelligence and education are some of the 4 main initiatives that they're focused on for this trip.
Okay. All good focus points. And I guess I would also a little bit concerned about, I don't have any objections to the 2 of you going. I just think that the whole board should have been asked if they wanted to go. And I'm a little, how did that process work?
I don't think there was really a process for it. We had kind of talked about it, and he had brought it up before, and I had been interested in it, and I thought that the board clerk and the president would be a good way to go and then bring feedback to the board if that's something we might want to do in the future. And we had talked about doing a rotation of board members throughout the years of who would like to go and do it that way.
If there were additional board members that wanted to go on this trip, could they?
That's a budget thing, Jared.
Yeah, I'll look to Robert. So, I mean, Ken had asked us at the beginning. Right now, we've priced everything out, and it's about $3,000 per participant, and that's everything: travel, lodging. The price for there is a registration fee with CSBA on this as well. So all of that combined is about $3,000. You know, if we do this, we'll be watching flights, so it depends a little bit on flight cost. But right now, it'd be about $3,000 per.
Yeah, we had set aside budget for the board to do a training or some kind of professional development. So we'll have to look to see where the costs shake out after these estimates. I have not priced that through yet to see exactly what would be available after the current folks are planning to go.
Okay, because I just think it'd be important that everybody, the public and the board itself, understands that if you want to go and be a part of this, you should be able to.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think that myself, I don't want to go, but I think Peter and Shane should have the opportunity if they wanted to.
Okay. Peter?
For what it's worth, I, as someone who I guess is hesitant to miss classroom time, although I am very willing and continue to schedule personal days off to do campus visits, which I think is very important, I prefer not to miss classroom time as a teacher and feel, whether it be, you know, this lovely thing I was just given or the abundance of information provided through CSBA through email, I'm good. I don't have any interest in attending additional trainings unless it's felt strongly that I need to.
Okay. Noted. Shane?
On this, I guess I'm disappointed that this was not state conference in Sacramento, and had the opportunity to drive down there daily if we had to, and save significant, and the cost different than what it requires us to fly and stay in hotels. And I'm just going to throw this out there. Advocacy, on my own last October when when it became apparent that the insurance was going to be a major talking point in the district, I went down to Sacramento on my own, knocking on doors. I went to the governor's office. I went to CSBA. I went to Colorado Gill's office, and I wrote a letter, asked to meet with them, looking for advice, recommendations, any kind of feedback they could provide. So far, wasn't very successful. But I think we had that opportunity just a few months ago to go to this training, which was within an hour, and I do not see any advantage of going to AC at this time, especially we're at a point where we're in such a tight budget. And a few months ago we were talking about raises with our I can't remember the unrepresented or the non-represented employees, and I was kind of out on an island on that as far as trying to see what we could do for them. And the cost for this would be in that same ballpark of what that would have costed. I just do not like the optics of us going this time to federal. It's something that involves federal when it's just so up in the air regarding any kind of federal assistance or any feedback from the federal Department of Education when we had this state function that we could have did daily. I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes or anything, but I'm just a flat out no for this. I'm against changing this date of April for this. I would consider changing the other dates, but I just do not think. I think that the funds for this could be better used at this time because of our tight budget that we're in right now.
Okay, James?
Mr. Crow, do you get emails from CSBA?
Yeah, all the time.
On January 28th, I think that's probably maybe 2 weeks ago, we received an email, first email regarding this. All board members should have gotten that email from coast to coast. I'm not sure how many board meetings were since January 28th. One. A follow-up email was sent, I believe, a couple days after that, February 12th. So that was like 3 days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days. I don't know. I've been in the snow. February 12th. I understand you. I hear you. I disagree. I feel I've been on the board for 8 years. I've done 3 CSBA events. One, what is the acronym for the county events?
I don't know.
Actually, no, I've been to 2 CSBA events and 1 county conference in Monterey. And all those emails come to our email circuit all the time. This one I have seen come through for the last 3 years. It's caught my eye. I've mentioned it a couple times. And I feel that as board members, it's our job to, before I say that, I want to thank you for going door to door and beating the street as you said you did, because that deserves a big pat on the back. Not many people that are elected officials even do that.
I didn't bring that up to say look for anything like that. So
No, I respect it, but that's why I'm giving you your respect, because that's an admirable thing. I too have sat on the steps with the let them play movement and lots of many things, and it's not that many people do that. So that's why I applaud you, because I know what that consists of. So thank you. And because of your passion that you showed by doing that passion I have as well, and I want to take it to the next level at the federal level, like we're supposed to be doing that. That's why I chose to bring this up again, to see if we could do it, because of that passion for our students. That's why I brought it up. And our small district.
Well, you know, I do recall the email, but I remember the email last year, and I figured that was kind of a yearly thing, and I think we should have had an opportunity to discuss it, or have a
Absolutely,
committee
for
to,
sure.
to go over it.
Yep.
And again, we've got teachers coming up almost every board meeting saying
Yep.
they're in dire need for assistance, and you know, I do not like the optics of us, you know, going cross country when we could have went to Sacramento. I'll even throw this out there. When I found out that the budget had changed, where there wasn't any funds to go to Sacramento after the fact, you know, originally we did, and then the budget line was moved, that money was moved, and so there was, I even offered to go myself, but
Oh,
this sounds like it's,
hello.
Test.
I think Shane's is off.
no, that's okay. I thought I sounded like I'm,
Hello.
Testing.
Yeah, his button's on.
Yeah.
I think Adrian's messing with us.
hello? There I am.
There we go.
I gotta start over? Just kidding.
Okay, go ahead, Shane.
I forgot where I was at.
Test.
Okay.
Yeah, we have, like I said, we have every meeting, board meeting, we have people from the public speaking about, you know, they're in dire straits, and possibly going to have to find a position elsewhere. And like I said, when we had that discussion at the beginning of the year for the unrepresented, I was wishing we could have done something to help them, and then here we do this. I'm fully on board for training, but I do not like the optics of this, especially when we had the opportunity in Sacramento within an hour's time to attend, and not go to that and go to this one. I know what I was, sorry. I had even offered to pay for my own way to go to the one in Sacramento, because I felt like there was a lot of important topics that you know, I could have learned things and brought back, but I declined to go because I thought I didn't want to give the optics of making the other board members look like they weren't participating or unwilling. So I just do not like the optics of this. To me, it seems like it's kind of being rushed. I mean, we're being told, approve this, we're going to go do this, when there's no discussion about who's going. And, you know, I think it's important that the people that are either going to still be on the board next year, or they're going to run again, that they have the opportunity to, I guess, have the most impact. I just do not like the optics of this.
Are you good? I hear what you're saying, and I agree with some of the things, but I also feel like there's a large difference between CSBA conference and this event. I think the CSBA conference is actually more of a training and networking opportunity for board members to go to, whereas this is an actual advocacy event where you are going and sitting down with Congress people, going to Capitol Hill and trying to advocate for what your district needs. I think that that is the major difference between the CSBA conference and the coast to coast advocacy trip. I think that when we're talking about funding, we sit up here, and I've been on the board now, this is my 4th year, and we sit here and every time the budget comes up, we talk about, oh my gosh, the budget is awful. I can't believe he's doing this to the budget and this, that, and the other. But what do we ever actually do to try and improve our circumstance? And so that's the lens that I have seen this through, is we have a pretty high percentage of special needs students in this district, and special needs funding is being talked about at the federal level. And so it's always been severely underfunded, and now it's being talked about even more. It's uncertain, as many of you have already stated, but through my perspective, what are we actually doing about it? And as board members, that is part of our job, is to find solutions to, or at least explore options and solutions for our district, and to bring those back for our staff and our students. And at this point in time, I've been on the board, like I said, this is my 4th year, and I feel like we've done not much of that, at least as a board collectively. I think that as far as like the process for selecting people to go, if we want to look at that, that's fine. Moving forward, especially for those that are going to be on the board for a few more years and whatnot, as I brought up before, having a committee started, we can talk about that and plan all that kind of stuff out, decide what's important, what we want to do, and those things. I think that's a good idea. Historically, that's just never really been done. It just hasn't. Is that correct, James, Jared?
8 years, that's correct.
Okay.
9.
I'm on year 9, either CBO or superintendent, and we've never created a process for the board to decide which trainings or conferences or advocacy events that they should be involved in. Just starting to look into this more. I mean, there are boards out there that do that either create a subcommittee of the board, or they make it a discussion item once or twice a year, where all these things are hashed out and then decisions are made on the different events that we want to be involved with.
When I heard you, can you help me with what was the name of those topics that I don't want to say the wrong names. What would they be categorized as?
They call them the priority issues. is what
Priority
CSBA
issues.
Is
So,
calling them.
In the CSBA meetings that we attend, I'm not sure if you looked at the roster of events. I don't know the proper term of it, but you can choose your courses to go to. Some of them, they have lunches. Some of us did attend the lunches, right? We went to the California Latino School Board Association luncheon, but there was also other lunches of the members that actually do that advocacy, and those topics were at those luncheons of what they would bring to Coast that year. So all those, they're kind of like round tables spoken about of all the districts, and then those guys, I don't know their names or whatever they're called, I'm gonna call them runners. Those runners then go to DC and put this together for this, because the footwork's already been done at the CSBA level. Now they're gonna try to bring it up there. That's what I took from those luncheons for the coast to coast thing.
Well, I just want to clarify. I'm not against the training.
sure, yeah.
I'm just I don't like the optics of this at this time. Next year, yeah, let's schedule it. But I'm guessing there's going to be someone tonight telling us how dire need they are for funds. And like I said, we had that talk on what we were going to do for our employees that this past Christmas, or in that time frame, and that's roughly about the same dollar amount that would be spent to go to this. And I'm all for advocacy. I'm all for, finding what we can to help our county. I mean, I've tried. That's the reason I brought up my examples. I get it. We can do advocacy here, and to me, it just doesn't look good that we're gonna travel cross country when we could have went 60 miles and been an advocate. And I actually think that today, February 2026, we have a better chance of having advocacy with the state at the state level than we do with federal, because federal seems to be so such an unknown where it can change daily or weekly or monthly. I don't see that much of a change in the state level. Not that the state is great, but I just think we have a better chance of advocating when we could have in a place like at Sacramento than going to DC. Again, I'm not against the trip. At this time, I don't think that we should be using funds to go through this. We had funds to go to Sacramento. We missed the deadline, early bird deadline for the registration. Didn't end up going, and I was disappointed in that. I kind of expected it was like an automatic that we were going, and then when I found out, I thought, and I was looking at the agenda for the state one in Sacramento, and there was all kinds of opportunities to learn, and I just think that was a missed opportunity. Then going to this federal one, I'm not sure that we're going to get the return that we could have if we were at the state level.
Any further comment, Ken, Peter?
Just one comment. I think the timing of this discussion is interesting because just today at noon in our CSBA weekly update email, it made this comment, legal update. The court rules the U.S. Department of Education cannot withhold California funding while their lawsuit moves forward. So considering how embattled that is and how much the federal funding is at risk, I do think it is good that we try to do something to help our voices being heard on the fact that, Robert could tell us, of course, the exact percentage of our federal funding, but whether it be special ed or our EL students, Title I funding, whatever, it is significant. And I do think that perhaps the voices of the little guy should be heard at the national level. So if we need more people to participate, happy to do so, but have no objections to our trying to lean in and let our voices be heard.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I appreciate you saying that because I was trying to figure out the words of being honored to attend the, what was it, PERS board meeting?
Yeah, the
STIRS board
no, it
meeting?
was PERS.
The CalPERS board meeting, attending with some of the teachers and Mr. Critchfield, Mr. Norton. I didn't speak. I was just there in support of, to watch the amazing speeches from our people here in our county, our community, our neighbors, and then in the back, watching them react to their speeches, seeing the reaction to those people's behind their dais of the name, or excuse me, the face to the name, the problem that's actually there. I don't know how to explain it, but to be able to see those people's faces when everybody was presenting, that is what made me think this is important. So I hear everything that's being said, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to do this.
Ken, any further comment?
So if we vote yes on this consent agenda, all items, we can't have any further discussion on this event? Or can we push off do we have 2 more weeks to maybe find out more information about it?
I mean, we can. We don't have a history of the board approving going on these trips. It's just, is it in the budget? And then, our history has mostly been who wants to go to CSBA conference in December, and that's kind of been about it for board members. And so I know the early bird registration deadline is February 26th, so that's prior to the next board meeting. And so if we registered after that date, it would cost another $150 per participant.
On an extremely minor note, moving the board meeting from April 15th, the most hated day of the year, which also happens to be my birthday, doesn't hurt my feelings if we choose to not hold a board meeting on my birthday, so for what it's worth.
Yeah, and the movement of the May meeting just has to do with, typically we prefer a cadence of at least 3 weeks between board meetings, and so that's, the movement of the May meeting has to do more with the movement of April. The August meeting, if we're going to talk about that, has to do with, as we were talking about pre-year planning, that August 5th meeting is the week prior to school starting. And as we started planning out trainings, orientations for new staff, all these things, as we were filling that week up, we really wanted to use that Wednesday, August 5th, as one of our busier days. And it would be a challenge for staff to then participate in a board meeting. And so that August change has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight. And then moving it to the first day of school, we also at times do some last minute hiring. And so having another week before board approval, because people can't officially start until board approval. And so we're just wrapping it all in one package tonight, but there's different reasons for dates being moved.
I'm gonna add one more comment. This feels to me that the state CSBA conference was kind of allowed to slip to save that budget for this. And I'm not saying it's true. I said that's what it feels like to me. Again, I don't like this process. It's not the way to do it, and it's not the way to show the public that we are watching every penny that we can because we're trying to make things better for them.
I'm going to disagree with that. This email didn't come out until well after the state conference, the CSBA conference in December even happened. We didn't go to the state conference, not because we didn't have any money, but because we hadn't even done an insurance agreement for our teachers and our staff. It was not a good time to go at all.
No,
I'm not saying that this is.
I'm saying it felt like that to me, but I mean, I recall reading about this DC conference the last several years, so I knew it was there. I'm just telling you that's how I feel. I'm not accusing anyone. I said that's just what it feels like to me.
Okay. That's fine. What I was going to bring up, though, was just that, is that we have this opportunity and we've tried, I don't feel that we've done our due diligence as a board since I've been on it, and I think probably in the past as well, to figure out other ways to advocate for our district and our students. And I know that you keep bringing up the CSBA conference, but I've been to multiple CSBA conferences myself, some that we've spent money on, flights, hotels, all of the above. And while I felt that there is some good information at the conference, I don't feel that it actually brings back a lot for our staff and students. And so for me, this wasn't a way to like slight other board members, any of those things. It was something where I was like, what can we bring back of value to our teachers, to our staff, and to our students? And the conference just in Sacramento wasn't even talked about because we were embroiled and we had bigger fish to fry at that point in time, in my most humble opinion. I think that given the cost and nature of the trip, we felt that sending 2 people is the most responsible approach. And then next year, the intention would be for 2 different board members to attend, ensuring that there's ample opportunity for anybody that wants to go to be able to go on this.
I think we still have a big fish to fry. So
I mean, I'm not saying the fish isn't.
no, I know. I just meant that it's the same issue we had in August we have today, and this last thing I'll say is I don't like the optics of it.
I hear you on the optics thing, but I think we both agree on the issues that we have. I think that we're disagreeing on the solutions and how to find answers to those issues. I think that's the way I see it at this point in time. I hear you guys on how we should move forward in doing that in trainings and advocacy trips and whatnot. And I really think that having that committee or a full board discussion moving forward is a good idea. Does everybody agree with that? We would like to see that going forward.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, that's standard. Something pops up, an SOP is created to,
Yep.
to rectify that. Right.
And I can look into what other boards are doing and bring back some ideas on how we can approach the planning aspect of trainings, conferences, and advocacy trips.
Okay.
I would like to see us have that committee and have those discussions before we do any more board trips.
Sure.
Trips,
Absolutely.
maybe the wrong word, but everybody knows what I'm
Sure.
talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, with that, is there any other questions or comments on consent? Then we would just need a motion.
I move that we approve item 9, the consent agenda.
Can we pull the, for a separate vote, can we pull the
Board meeting schedule?
the calendar
Sure.
and have that separate?
Sure.
You want to amend your motion?
Okay, I vote that we approve item 9.1 and .2 of the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, and the vote, Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes,
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Aye.
I'm also a yes. So then we would need a motion for 9.3.
Okay, I move that we approve item 9.3 of the consent agenda, the 2026 amended board meeting schedule.
Second.
Okay, and the vote, Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
no,
Shane?
No.
James?
Aye.
I'm also a yes. Okay. Moving on to item 10, communications. We do not have any. We're going to move on to item 11, action items. Where'd it go? Acceptance of the fiscal year 24-25 annual audit report, Mr. Norton.
Thank you, board. We'll wait for the presentation. Thank you, Sadie, for stepping in today, too, by the way. Perfect. Okay. So tonight I'm here to present the summary of the audit report for Amador County Office of Education for fiscal year that has ended June 30, 2025. It helps if I turn this on. So the audit was conducted by Christie White LLC. They are our auditors for the county and the district. And as you know, this is an annual requirement that we have with the report. This year was being completed on by January 29th of 2025. As you may remember, we had requested an extension, which was approved by the state, and this was due to the government shutdown. But generally, on an annual basis, is completed by December 15th each year. So Christie White is now prepared the last three for us here. At this time, I do want to call out that each audit is really a combined effort. It's not just the business office that gets this done, but really it's a combination of the district office as well as site staff too. Constantly we are reserving documents to the site until they're requested by auditors on an annual basis. And so it's gathering all those up from a year worth of collection, making sure everything's in the appropriate order and getting it done. So I just want to compliment the combined effort here on getting this particular report completed. And then the audit itself was done with generally accepted accounting principles as well as the government accounting standards for this year. So financial highlights that we have, the audit report provides a detailed overview of the county's financial activities. In the fall, you may recall, we presented a similar report, but that was the unaudited actuals. So now these figures have been completely audited. And so these are the final figures we have here. A few key highlights are noted. The overall general fund revenues were $11,242,458, which was less than the expenses we had of $13,144,400. This resulted in the general fund's ending balance decreasing by $1.9 million and resulting in ending fund balance of $1.2 million. And of those $1.2 million, specifically our unrestricted fund balance ended just under $558,000. So this did meet the reserve and did not really change much from what our unaudited actuals were here. One thing just to note is you'll see our fund balance went from in 23-24 beginning to 3.1. That was due to a one-time medical adjustment, which we did not have in the next year, which is why you see the revenues decreasing from one year to the next. So areas of note that came up in the audit, the auditors really look more of a global risk of things that are happening on just beyond Amador County. So the mentions they had in there were enrollment declines, pension obligations, and federal funding uncertainty. And then this was a clean audit in terms of that we had no findings, and so we have no correction action plan to go along with it on the county side. So overall, the auditors found no material weaknesses or noncompliance and noted our financial statements were presented fairly and in accordance with accounting principles. So overall, this was a real clean audit. At this time, I recommend the board approve the 24-25 annual audit, and I'm available for any questions you may have.
Okay. Questions or comments, Peter?
One little question on, just forgive me if I don't understand the term, where it says areas of note on operational and future risks. Is the second dot under pension obligations when it says upward pressure, we're saying that just they continue to expect us to fund more and more of that retirement balance? Is that correct, what you mean by upward pressure?
So there's a percentage that the district is obligated to basically provide for each employee that we provide or hire. And so you could see that the current rates for CalSTRS is 19.1%. So for every dollar we give somebody, 19.1 in addition goes toward CalSTRS, and then 26.81% on the CalPERS side. So a classified employer, somebody who's with CalPERS, costs the district more in essence of what we're providing toward the pension obligations. Currently, the law maximum for STRS is that 19.1, which has actually remained pretty fairly flat. But as I always hear, the law is the law until the law changes. So it could very well change in the future. The CalPERS historically has continued to go up each year. However, on the dartboard that we shown back at the January governor's budget, there is look to go down for a couple of years over the next few years. So there is some positive outlook in that sense, but overall, I don't see it going down anytime soon.
Okay. I'm just trying to make sure I'm clear on, and the public is clear on the term upward pressure, because this has been something certainly Manteca Unified that the budgetary people have been talking about for years, is they continue to expect districts to fund more of that obligation. Is that I mean, that's kind of
Yeah, and it's the financial stability of the pensions themselves. Obviously, as the pensions do well, the market does well, those obligations, as we look, could go down. Reality of it is, most likely, it's going to, at best, stay flat, but it could keep going up, yes.
Okay.
So as just historical perspective, this really started ramping up in 2014. The CalSTRS rate for the employer in 2014 was 8.25%.
Wow.
And now it's 19.1. The CalPERS rate in 2014 was 11.44, and now it's 26.81. So every dollar we spend on an employee costs that much more than it did 12 years ago because of those employer contributions that are required.
Okay. So not to oversimplify, but upward pressure means yes, they continue to go up.
Correct.
CalPERS in particular was given the authority to move their rate up as they see fit,
Wow. Okay.
which clearly they've done in the last 12 years, going from 11%
Sure
to
have.
nearly 27%.
Okay. Thank you. No other questions?
I also just want to point out, Robert's obviously giving credit to the rest of the team. A clean audit is always a good thing, and the business office needs to be commended. Christy White has been great to work with. Robert showed them doing 3 audits, but if you remember, we were woefully behind 2 years ago on our audits. So Christy White essentially has done 3 audits in 2 years instead of 3 audits in 3 years. And so they have, we should have had this done by December 15th. 2 years ago, our audit was nearly a year behind. So for them to catch us up this quickly, we anticipate having an on-time audit this next go-around. And being only 2 months behind compared to 10 months behind is a huge improvement in a 2-year period.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for Robert? Okay, then we would just need a motion for accepting our audit.
I make a motion that we approve item 11.1, acceptance of fiscal year 2024-25 annual audit report.
Second.
Okay, and the vote, Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Aye.
And I'm also a yes. Okay, we do not have any discussion items. We're going to go ahead and move on to item 13, board policy updates. We have 13.1, adoption of board policies.
Yeah, so these series of board policies were approved and updated on the district side last board meeting, but they were first reading this last time, and so we're asking for first year approval on item 13.1, and then we can discuss 13.2.
Okay, any questions or further discussion on this set of policies? Okay, if we don't, then we would just need a motion.
I move that we pass item 13.1, A, B, and C.
Second.
Okay, and the vote, Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Aye.
I'm also a yes. Okay, so moving on to item 2, first reading.
Yeah, so these were first reading last board meeting. We had lengthy discussion on those, and so given the time and the need for closed session, I would recommend maybe a abbreviated discussion tonight on this, unless you feel it necessary. These same policies will be on the district agenda for approval tonight, and so we can obviously have further discussion there as well.
Okay. So this is first reading, we don't need a motion. Is there any discussion we'd like to have in this meeting?
One quick question for Jared. Have you had any public comment on any of these?
Directed to my office?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, that was all. Thank you.
For what it's worth, I have fielded a couple of phone calls from the public, and once they came to understand that this is curriculum and not any other issue, they significantly calmed down and appreciated that, and not to oversimplify, feel free to correct me, Ms. Horn, but that particularly item BP 5020, this is an actual increase in parental rights, not a decrease. So I feel very positive about these things, and I'm grateful for the CSBA's guidance.
Good. Ken?
No
Any
question.
Okay. James?
I have a question. What, just because my brain thinks oddly. In legal or law world, would that case law that's in there right now, that Mahmood versus Taylor, do those ever go away is probably not the right word, but go away or change, or do we know that? Could at any point in time that change, which by default changes this?
As my colleague to my right said earlier, the law is the law until it's
The law
not.
is no longer the law.
Interesting, as we dug into this, I was sharing with Superintendent Critchfield today that the Mahmood Taylor decision of 2025 actually uses language and calls on a decision that was made in 1972, Wisconsin versus Yoder. So to answer your question, yes, it could go away, or no, it could stay forever, or maybe it could be morphed into something else, as we saw between Yoder and Wisconsin and Mahmood Taylor.
So if something were to happen that makes this no longer what it is now, does it?
It would trigger us to have to relook at our board policies.
And do you get an email or a call from the bat phone every time a board policy
Well,
no longer
I'll jump in here.
works?
This is a Supreme Court ruling.
Yeah.
So we would need a Supreme Court ruling
Right.
to go in a different direction.
Okay, I'm
So
just
this wouldn't
curious.
happen.
the way
No,
my
it's a
brain-
very valid
Yeah.
question. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a very valid question.
Okay.
Because it's a Supreme Court ruling.
And that's
we
not
would
just
need-
with this, it's with all of them.
Correct.
You know, for real.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Actually, there's something that came up in the warrants, and the good governance, there's a warrant for an amount of money. Part of that is when the policies change at certain times during the year, we get an update that says
Okay, cool.
these ed code policies have changed, pay attention.
Okay,
Because the law just changed, and then we work with CSBA to make sure our board policies are in line with the changing in ed code. But in January and June, we get those updates.
Right, and
Okay.
we pay CSBA to make sure that we are up to date with the most current
Correct.
legal
Yep.
stuff, if
Okay,
you will,
cool.
for lack of a
Yes.
and that question's for every board policy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank
So
you.
whenever you see good governance, that's the way that we make sure that our board policies are in line with ed code.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there's not any further questions or comments, these are just discussion only, so we'll see them again for next board meeting for a vote. Information only, we have current personnel recommendations. Dr. Palazuelos, do we have any questions or comments on this?
No.
No.
Okay, so we'll move on to board reports. Mr. Critchfield?
No, I just want to thank staff for bearing the weather. I'll talk more about it in the district meeting.
Yes. Okay, Peter?
No other comments other than, again, I do want to encourage, if public has a concern, I promise I am willing to talk. Both phone calls I fielded were over 30 minutes, and that's okay. And I very strongly would also advocate that when Mr. Critchfield says he's willing to talk, he means it. So if members of the public have concerns, they can, instead of just ranting on social media, you actually can reach out and talk to us, and that is a valid option.
Thank you. Ken?
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate the fact that I was able to speak about the trip to Washington, D.C. We were able to have a civil conversation about it, and I just really appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to having the committee set up so it doesn't happen again.
Perfect. Shane?
I first off want to wish good luck to our athletic teams. I think they're in playoffs now, so I believe Amador girls won last night.
Our girls won last night. They play Friday night. I haven't heard the result of Argonaut girls soccer. They should. The game, we moved it back to 4 p.m., so that game is completed. I just haven't heard the score. And then boys basketball is about 20 minutes into Argonaut boys basketball is about 20 minutes into their game tonight.
So good luck to our athletic teams. Completely lost my train of thought. With all the rain we have coming up, this is sort of a PSA. Hopefully, if any of the teachers come up with any kind of issues, make sure you report to your principal so that we can, so the maintenance can address any leaks or any issues or anything that's going on in your classroom. I think it's important just to keep asking to get things repaired so that we can stay on top of it.
Okay. James?
I was also going to give a good luck to our sports teams, both the girls' soccer teams and the boys who are playing basketball right now. I had the privilege to attend the Argonaut ASB / Lions Club Green and Gold Gala. It was the first annual, so this is going to be an annual thing. It was great. The kids did phenomenal. They partnered up with the Lions Club and did an amazing job. Good dinner, great event, great fundraising. I look forward to attending the next one in November, I think. Don't quote me on it, but I think it's November. I also attended the Ione Rotary Crab Feed. Good times, good food, good raffle prizes. The weather is bad. I miss having teenage boys at my house because they shovel snow. That is all.
Okay. I don't have a report, just that I hope, later this evening we'll decide if there's going to be, Jared will decide if there's going to be a school tomorrow or not, and we'll hopefully get that decision out sooner rather than later for families and everybody, just to stay safe and stay warm. With that, our meeting is adjourned, and our next meeting will be Wednesday, March 4th, here at open session starts at 5:30. And with that, we are adjourned, and open session for our next meeting starts at 7.
Yeah, you need to open the district meeting.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and call to order the Amador County Unified School District meeting. All board members are present. Are there any public comments on closed session? Okay, then we are going to go into closed session. We'll be returned at 7 o'clock. Okay, we're going to go ahead and report out from closed session. We do have a report tonight. During the closed session held earlier tonight, the board adopted a resolution pursuant to Education Code Section 44929.21 and authorized the district superintendent or his designee to notify a teacher of release from their probationary position. The board vote on this resolution was as follows. Mr. Gale, yes. Mr. Farrar, yes. Mr. Crow, no. Mr. Marzano, yes. And myself, yes. During the closed session held earlier tonight, the board adopted a resolution pursuant to Education Code Sections 44929.21 and 44951, authorizing the district superintendent or his designee to notify a psychologist of release from their probationary position. The board vote on this resolution was Mr. Gale, abstain. Mr. Crow, no. Myself, yes. Mr. Farrar, yes. Mr. Marzano, yes. During the closed session held earlier tonight, the board adopted a resolution pursuant to Education Code Section 44951 and authorized the district superintendent or his designee to notify a principal of release and reassignment from their position by the following vote. Mr. Gale, yes. Mr. Farrar, yes. Mr. Crow, yes. Mr. Marzano, yes. And myself, yes. Okay. Are there any deletions or corrections to the agenda?
We do have a change to the agenda. The food service items, it's the second action item, so 14.2. We've had some further developments and some things we'd like to either add or take away from items A, B, and D. So right now, we'd like to leave only item C. So 14.2C would remain, and we would pull items A, B, and D to a future date.
Okay. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We don't have any presentations or recognitions tonight, so we'll go ahead and move on to employee organizations. Tonight we have Mr. Wall for ACTA.
Hold on one second, your microphone's not on.
Wonder who did that.
Try again.
Now I have to be careful. It's a live mic.
It is.
I've always thought a lot of Mr. Critchfield. Good evening, board members and district leaders. I'm Greg Wall, a teacher at Amador High School and the ACTA Vice President. I am standing in for ACTA President Jeannie Jensen, who needed to be home in order to be safe from inclement weather and late evening travel concerns. I, on the other hand, did brave the fierce misting and damp roads all the way from Sutter Creek to be here. Seriously, though, ACTA does wish all those struggling with snow safety, warmth, and working appliances. ACTA would like to bring two topics to your attention tonight. At our previous negotiation session, ACTA provided the district with a salary and compensation proposal that we believe is both appropriate for the district in light of their statutory responsibility to ensure a certain percentage of the general budget is dedicated to certificated salaries, and for the certificated membership in light of the rising costs of living. One example that demonstrates this is in 2026, healthcare costs from CalPERS increased overall 8.21%. Though these rates did range from a low of 6.48 to 12.08 for all plans. Expectations for 2027 show a trend of health cost increases. CalPERS is likely to face a double-digit increase for PPO plans and high single-digit moves for HMO plans. Considering that employees need to make the most informed decision for their family, and that includes pursuing other job opportunities, ACTA is seeking the clearest financial picture as possible. We understand that employee retention and loyalty is contentious due to many budget demands, but we also see a growing potential of teacher resignations. That concern is seen with actually 5 on tonight's agenda. We look forward to the district's counteroffer tomorrow. And then there are a number of board policy changes being considered on tonight's agenda. Several have resulted from the Mahmoud v. Taylor Supreme Court decision last year. CTA's legal team produced an advisory notice for the case, and ACTA has a couple of points to mention. 1, any board policy is recommended to be general for religious accommodations for student, family, parental opt-outs, instead of a singular focus on the LGBTQ plus content. Obviously, censorship of existing materials is prohibited by California Ed Code 202E, and all students have rights to be at school, form clubs, and learn from caring professionals. Lastly, education is best when it is inclusive. Studies have shown the benefits include boosts in academic outcomes, the building of empathetic skills, and the fostering of connections among students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I don't see anybody here from CSEA, but I don't want to miss out in case they are. Okay, so we will go ahead and move on to public comment on non-agenda items, and we do have some cards. A person wishing to be heard by the board shall first be recognized by the president and shall then proceed to comment as briefly as the subject permits. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on non-agenda items. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the board president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. Our first speaker will be Patricia Angija.
Good evening, Board, Mr. Critchfield, Cabinet, and community members. From the January 14th board meeting, it was asked by Trustee Crow that maintenance prepare a list of maintenance projects, timeframe, cost, et cetera, to address the significant findings in the FIT portion of the SARC. Mr. Critchfield stated that he would work with Maintenance Director Joe Cruz to get this information, so I just wanted to check on the status of that. With school maintenance a continuing concern for many parents and faculty, I'm just curious as to why the maintenance director is not regularly attending school board meetings to address these concerns and where repairs stand. To get right to my concerns, of course, I own elementary. We have exhaust fans not working, water damage, menstrual products not available, peeling paint, trip hazards, stained ceiling tiles from water damage, faucets with sporadic flow, slanting floors, dry rot, electrical appliance in close proximity to water sources, black growth on the ceiling in the boys' restroom, lifting carpet, chipping drywall, extension cords being permanently used, rust, daisy-chained electrical cords, improperly stored cleaning supplies, required notices not posted. Most of these items are seen in reports for other campuses as well. I'd appreciate if the board would follow up on the status of the maintenance report and when we can see these items be fixed. Namely, not from the SARC, but during these rainy days at Ione Elementary in particular, we can easily see a lot of areas that are troubling. Over the years, there's a lot of flooding near the basketball courts, so much so they usually use caution tape when it gets rainy like this so that kids can't play there. We have drainage issues all over the place. It's been years like that. Most recently, these past couple weeks, there's been a broken pipe by the second grade classrooms facing the playground, the big kids' playground, that's been just pouring out water. I think it's connected to the gutters. And again, the flooding issues have been for years, so I hope that gets looked into. Switching gears to the academic aspect of SARC, this time bringing in just a few red flags that stood out to me. Plymouth has only 0.5 FTE of a counselor for the 24-25 school year. No librarian, psychologist, social worker, nurse, speech, language, hearing specialist, or other support service staff. Ione Junior High had a suspension rate of 15.23 for the 24-25 school year compared to 2.94 for the state. For the 23-24 school year, which is the most recent provided, Ione Junior had a 24.29% of teachers without credentials and also as missed assignments compared to 6.04% for the state. Argonaut High School had a 7.97 suspension rate for 24-25 school year compared with 2.94 for the state. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Ronnie Gold.
Excuse me, Mr. Critchfield, is there any way that we can get a check-in on the items that the public speaker has just mentioned? Can the board get a report on all of those?
I can
I
send
know
out-
many of those items are on that report that we just saw at the last board meeting, but if we
Yeah, I
can
can
get
follow
update,
up with you on that.
please, thank you.
Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Hi. I wanted to speak tonight. I haven't been in a couple meetings, but I wanted to come and publicly thank Kayla and Mr. Critchfield. A couple weeks, maybe months, I don't know, time's flying, but they came down to Ione and met with our city manager and our now mayor, Maida, to discuss consolidation and concerns and whatnot. And I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day. I know I always have a lot of stuff to say, so I like to publicly give kudos. It was very amicable. Everybody got along. It was very nice to see. I also want to give you guys kudos again. I've said this before. The way you guys conduct your meetings is a breath of fresh air. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Ty Polskamp.
Good evening. My name is Ty Polskamp. I am a voter, a taxpayer, and a survivor. As an adult, I survived domestic violence. As a child, as a teenager, I survived the Amador County Unified School District. A lifetime of healing has been poured over the wounds I carried across that graduation stage. I left Amador County the next day, not out of disdain, but out of fear. During my 4 high school years, 4 catastrophic acts of violence caught the attention of the world, and of the few LGBTQ+ students here at home desperately searching for the breadcrumb trail to our survival. A few weeks into my freshman year, Matthew Shepard, a young gay man, was violently murdered in a community so similar to our own. That spring, the Columbine shooting happened. It changed, well, everything. Surely it changed what it meant to feel and be safe at school. The horrific murder of Brandon Tina was made public by the movie Boys Don't Cry, and a few weeks into my senior year, the September 11th attacks happened and shook us all. During this 4-year time span, on separate occasions, I was run off Highway 16, followed home, had my tires slashed on campus, spit upon, and hit. I was hit with more objects that were thrown at me than I could possibly remember. Though you get hit in the head with a little red Bible disseminated by senior Shriners just feet off campus, you remember that. You get hit with toenail clippers on prom night, you remember that. The books, the balls, the calculators, notebooks, empty cafeteria containers all blur together. Some things aren't meant to be remembered. Amidst the classic and sprawling brain fog that accompanies childhood trauma, something remains crystal clear. In all my years of school, from year to year, from teacher to teacher, from librarian to librarian, God bless them, never once did I have the experience of cracking open a book and finding a storyline that reflected back to me even the smallest glimpse of a future. Where was I headed? Who was I growing up to be? How have people like me contributed to society over the course of human history? Because we have. James, you brought up something important last session. The children are watching. They are looking to you to shed light on the world, not dim it for future inspection. Education is about exposure, dialogue, and discourse, even in the face of discord. Without our ability to expand, extend, stretch, examine, fortify, and learn, we are but clusters of cells intent on our own demise. And so this evening, I would like to draw to your attention that a quarter century ago, after a horrific homophobic attack took place on the campus of Amador High School, the students there, at the hands of an upperclassman on an incoming freshman, the students there stepped out in faith that our safety was important, that our experiences did matter, and that the public school students here in the great state of California
Extend time.
have the right to an equitable
Hold on
education.
a second.
One paragraph left. Yes, thank you.
Hold on. go back
Yep.
a paragraph and just hold on.
Motion to extend time 1 minute?
Second.
Yes.
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 Aye.
I'm also a yes.
Thank you. And so this evening, I would like to draw to your attention that a quarter century ago, after a horrific homophobic attack of an incoming freshman at the hands of upperclassmen on the campus of Amador High School, students stepped out in faith that our safety was important, that our experiences did matter, and that as public school students here in the great state of California, we have a right to an equitable education. An equitable education is not what I received. But you have the opportunity and the responsibility to ensure that all of your students are challenged academically, supported socially, and to foster in them resilience, ethics, and agency. Do not shy away from conflict. Do not succumb to bullies. It is comforting to crutch on a word like bullying when the reality of our own implicit bias is staring us down. Be ye a bully or be ye racist? Be ye a bully or be ye transphobic? Be ye a bully or be ye a professional entrusted with the safety and education of America's youth? Thank you.
Okay. Okay. We're going to move on to item 12, the consent agenda. We do have 2 public comment cards on different items, but we'll just have you do them one right after the other. Patricia and Gija.
Good evening again, everyone. So on 12.2A, the warrants, just some things that stood out to me, and I hope the trustees will ask these questions of the cabinet, as I hope I'm not the only one to have these concerns. The Hunt and Sons, January 30th for $17,218.96. Just curious, this can probably be a discussion with item 14.3. Will the contract result in lower fuel costs? Will the equipment agreement give the district a discounted rate on fuel, or will it be the same or even more expensive than the stations in the area? Again, January 30th, Lozano Smith for $35,267.25. Just why are we spending so much on legal fees? MGM Transportation on January 30th and February 6th. Altogether, those 2 come to $25,355 for just a 13-day period. There needs to be some solution figured out to these extremely high charter buses used every month. We have way more than 12 buses in our fleet. I drive by there every day, right next to the bowling alley. Why don't we have enough vehicles to take the kids to their games? If it's a lack of drivers, then get more drivers. Or get current staff to get certified in driving the larger buses. We also have the smaller buses, we have the vans. So I really don't understand why we keep paying for these really expensive buses. When I was in high school, marching band, we took the school buses. There's Blue Mountain Oak Transportation, whatever, their vans I see all the time. Is there not a cheaper option if that's really the way we have to go? Lastly, February 6th, SCOE Financial Services for Jackson Elementary and Pioneer Elementary Science Camp for over $18,000. I just want to make sure this is a reimbursement because Ione Elementary worked our butts off to fundraise for our science camp, and it wouldn't be fair if Ione has to raise funds where the district is paying for other schools to go. Just want to make sure it's a reimbursement. That's what I assume it is, but I really would like the confirmation of that. Next item, so restart the clock. 12.4A, the current personnel recommendations. I've learned that of certain hiring and termination practices by the district that are quite alarming to me. For instance, there have been positions where instead of promoting internally, the district has gone with an external candidate. Now, of course, they could be more qualified and have more experience, but you always have to ask who's going to be training the newcomers. Institutional knowledge and employee loyalty should count for something. It should actually count for a lot. That is a big way the district can retain more people as we see people leaving in droves. Another issue is that there have been instances of employees speaking out here at board meetings and in other places to parents or other staff members, and their contracts are coincidentally getting canceled and not renewed. Now, again, this could be other factors going into these decisions. Of course, I understand that, but I find it odd when these two instances coincide. I'd really appreciate the Board of Trustees ensuring that personnel practices the district follows are in the best interest in retaining the quality staff we do have and not punishing them for speaking out publicly about issues that are so very important to our staff and students. Also, I would appreciate us putting at the top of agendas maintenance and curriculum, as that is the most important part of why schools exist. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go ahead and move into our item, the consent agenda. Do you have any questions or comments on this item?
I do. On the personnel recommendations, this is perhaps just a very minor question, and maybe no is the correct answer. I don't know. I just noticed that we have a great many induction mentors. I mean, it's a very, very long list. And if we have found great success with that in some kind of a one-on-one mentor-mentee situation, that's what this is, then I think absolutely we should invest the money toward that. However, just as an FYI or as a possible question, one of the models that Manteca Unified has moved toward several years ago, perhaps even a decade ago, is having kind of a centralized district office teacher on special assignment person or two who focus on doing the mentorship, the coaching full-time throughout the district, one perhaps at the elementary level, one at the high school level. I don't know. I was just curious whether anything like that has been explored, or no, we love our mentor program, it works, it's awesome. I just was curious, because that's a lot of different spots for that.
Yeah, I would say that upon my arrival into the organization, this is the method or the approach that we've been using here in Amador County Unified School District. What you described, I am familiar with from other organizations I've worked with. It actually has, there's a lot of linkages with the former Beginning Teacher Support and Achievement, BITSA, the former BITSA program, and before that, the PAR program in some of the districts. So, but in this particular one, this is something that, based on your comments tonight, it's something we can take back and look and see if there might be some feasibility for the future. We're just really excited, Trustee Gale, that we've got this many of our very experienced folks that are willing to step up and support our rising, educators and successes in the organization.
Just to be clear, I think it's absolutely worth the investment if it's working and if it's providing us what we want, right, and good coaching, whatever. But if it's just something we do out of inertia, maybe other options are available.
10-4. Thank you.
Ken?
I do have a couple questions. Let me find this one. So I do have a question about check number 60081740 to Zonzo Smith. Professional service for December, $35,000 does seem a little high. Was there year end that was factored in that? Is there anything that you can tell us that made that bill that much that month?
Nothing that really stands out in particular. It just the services that were rendered during that time. I can't speak to what those services were.
Okay. Check number 60081870, Johnny Selected Seeds. It says for a school garden, but am I right in assuming that's for the farm that we have, that we're going to grand open next Tuesday, I believe?
I'm pulling it up right now, but
It's $1,200 for seeds.
Yes, it is. It's just for, yes. So because I see Fund 13 there, it tells me that. But we do have other school sites that do have their own school gardens. But in this particular instance, I do see it came from Fund 13, which tells me that it was for our school farm.
Yeah, I mean, there was another seeds within the warrants too, and I assume that was for a smaller school. And my last is going to go back to my question from the last meeting, PG&E, 60081885. I see we have two accounts, 5515 and 5520. It looks like under 5515, we spent about 24,000 combined at Argo and Amador, and 5520, we spent about 28,000. I'm wondering if we have any idea on what the solar counteracting that is. I asked last meeting, so I'm hoping maybe.
We're still investigating the solar piece because we've actually engaged a company that can help us with monitoring. So we're still looking into what that's going to all look like. And we are actively working with PG&E as well. One of the things that came up with PG&E was consolidating the accounts, so we're actively working on that as well. So we are further inquiring with PG&E. We don't have the answers yet.
Okay, so leads to a couple more questions. Can you tell me what 5515 versus 5520 is?
Yeah, it's gas and electric. 1.5 is gas, 20 is electric.
Okay. And then I know on my personal PG&E bill, I have a true up every month. Well, not every month, I true up once a year, but it kind of tells me the running totals. Is our bill not like that, or is this actually the monthly bill they want paid now?
Well, these are the monthly
Obviously.
bills they want paid now. I'll have to see. I don't recall seeing a true-up feature on that. I do see on my personal one, I have that too. So I'll have to investigate here. We are working with them on our solar, but I'll have to get back to you on that.
And obviously, solar won't affect the gas.
No.
When do you think we could expect some feedback?
I'm hopeful by the 4th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Shane?
Like on the Lozano Smith charges, is it possible to get any more detail on what that stemmed from?
I mean, we could look at it, and I don't know if we could do a board communication on that.
Yeah, I mean, we have detailed billing that gets signed off by every cabinet member involved with each bill, so we can talk about what we want to do with that.
And this goes back to my broken record of somehow delineating what is annual, monthly, quarterly.
Yeah, and that one we're actively working on too. We're actually meeting Friday to further break it down. What it really stems from is it starts at when the requisitions get entered into our escape system. So it's a trickle-through effect that will lead to it being there. Our AP purchasers who ultimately put in the payments can then change those comments, and so we're educating them as well on what we want to see. But this has been come up, and we are working on putting together a process for that to happen.
Okay. Yeah, I just think it's good to be as transparent as possible so that the public can see where the funds are going and, you know, that it's not being wasted. Regarding I thought there was a explanation at the last meeting regarding the gas tank. Yeah, so just real quick, the price of gas that we're paying for this is not, it's pretty standard, or is it?
I believe from my understanding that there is, I don't know what the deal was, but with Hunts.
Have this agenda item though.
Yeah.
We have an agenda item for the tank and the gas prices, so we can, is that okay if we talk about it on that item?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And then the other broken record is the maintenance. I see that there was some line items for Lowe's, and it designates the site, but we don't know what it's for. And I think that master list, if every school had their list, and I know we have the program, I'm not sure how the program output would translate to the public. That's why I keep going back to some kind of a spreadsheet that's color-coded of what's standard and what's like an emergency repair. I guess just mention that as a reminder. I would like to separate out the item 12.5 regarding the 2026 board meeting schedule.
Okay.
As far as when we vote on it. I guess I'm just going to end up repeating what I said previously at the county meeting. The change for April is in regards to the proposed training in Washington, D.C. And I'm opposed to this training. I don't like the optics as far as spending money for this when we had the opportunity, and again, I apologize for repeating myself from the county board meeting. We had the opportunity to attend sessions for advocacy at the state board meeting or state board conference in Sacramento. And I do not like the optics that we've foregone the state one that's in Sacramento that we could have driven to, and I mean, we could have caravanned in a van and saved money that way. And yet we're going to spend that amount that goes for 3 people to go to DC. I feel like it's such an unknown as far as federal funding, and it's very important, especially Dameron County. But at this time, I do not like the optics of us spending money, especially when we continue to have people speak about their issues they're facing as far as their finances because of the insurance and just everything else that involves working for the district. I'm against this, and I'm not against training. I think it's great, but I think the process of setting up a committee, lining out, okay, this is what we're going to do for next year is good, but I do not like the optics of this, and I think that we could use those funds in a better way that could have more impact at this time for the district.
Okay. Further questions or comments? Claire, welcome back. Thanks for making it. Peter?
No, I just do want to mention that it is now 7:35, so I don't know if we need any communication regarding school tomorrow, or if that's not urgent, or how we feel about that.
I would recommend we wrap up the consent agenda and the item that was pulled from consent, and then take a recess so we can do a communication on school tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Ken?
I just had one more question regarding the warrants, Robert. Would it be possible just to print out a chart of accounts quarterly for us, and then we could see what was spent on each account so far? I mean, that seems to be the simplest way to get a grand total of each account.
Yeah. So are
Might
you
be
looking
simplifying
for
it, but
like the vendors themselves, or are you looking, because I mean,
well, the payees, I know, like
okay.
QuickBooks, you could run a report
Yeah.
and show me what I spent that quarter
you
and
can.
where I spent it.
No, that we could look into that for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Okay, James?
We went we went past. Excuse me. I was trying to take notes regarding the solar. Mr. Critchfield, you had said, or excuse me, Mr. Norton, you had mentioned that we engaged a company, or maybe it was him. No, it was you. What does that mean? Does that mean that we hired somebody to?
We have not
how to
hired.
do-
We engaged a conversation to
Oh.
have them look into it, so to see what they offer, so that way we can go from there to see if it's even worthwhile to continue that conversation.
We don't know how to operate the solar debacle that we went through.
No, this is about monitoring the solar.
We don't know how to do that yet.
We don't have a system that's in there.
We. Okay. I forgot what your last comment was about Lozano Smith, but it brought a thought into my head. Roughly, guesstimate. Like, I know he rolled his eyes. I feel you. How much does it cost to legally provide for a school district annually? Like ballpark, end of the year, dang, we paid our attorneys $72 million.
I mean, the answer is with anything, it depends.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, in the time that I've been here, I've seen anywhere from 200 to 300 to 400,000.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And the Hunt and Sons, I do see it as another agenda item. I like to see that, or I appreciate seeing that, even though we had the lengthy discussion that we did on the Hunt and Sons situation, and our gas and all of that stuff. So I appreciate that. That's all.
Okay. As far as the solar goes, I definitely have questions on that. I know that the solar installation and that whole kind of issue happened, most of it took place, I believe, before I ever got on the board. So I don't know all of the ins and outs in that. I do know that it was an interesting situation, to put it nicely. I guess I am just confused though how we have solar running, but we have no way to track if it's actually providing anything for us as far as our bills go. That's a little concerning. So I think definitely figuring that out ASAP is important, because if we can knock down some of those prices, that would be great. And then same with the follow-up question, the last time, there are a whole bunch of connections at different school sites, and I'm just curious if we're paying like a separate connection fee or all those additional fees on those accounts, and if there's a way, if there's a way to like negotiate with them. We've got all this stuff, can we only pay a small portion of the connection, one connection fee, even two connection fees, whatever that is, I don't know what that looks like. So just to follow up on that. And other than that, I don't think I have any further questions on the consent agenda. So with that, we would just need a motion.
I make a motion that we approve items 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, and vote separately on 12.5.
Okay,
Second?
okay. And the vote, Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James? I'm also a yes. And then we would need a separate motion for 12.5.
I make a motion that we vote on item 12.5. Board meeting schedule.
You have to vote to
You have to
approve.
approve
Okay.
it, so somebody else has to.
Make a motion that we vote to approve item 12.5, board meeting schedule.
Second?
But,
I don't know if I should have done that.
okay, can we?
Not if you're voting no.
Not if you're voting no, yeah. So we would need we need a new motion, or how would we?
Okay, I move to approve the recommended item 12.5, 2026 board meeting schedule.
Okay,
Second.
and the vote, Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
No.
Shane?
No.
James?
Aye.
I'm also a yes. Okay, moving on to item 13, communications. We do not have any. We're going to go ahead and move on to our action
Take a quick recess.
items. Yes, before we move on, we are going to take a quick recess to send out communication about weather. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and resume the meeting. We're gonna move on to item 14.1, or action items. We do have a public comment on this item. Patricia and Gija.
Okay. Good evening again, everyone. So I would just briefly like to ask the board and cabinet to consider presenting the item before public comment again, just so we can potentially save time if questions are answered while the presentation happens, so that we don't come up here and waste more time. My question is for the $300,068 and $661, or oh my God. $368,661. Question and cost for home to school transportation reimbursement. Just curious if we're having to repay those funds, because you see a big number like that, it stands out to you. Thank you.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead and move on into the item.
Perfect. Thank you, board. We'll get it put up here.
I have a question really quick. Ms. Critchfield, if public has questions about any presentation or any board meeting, they can reach out to you?
They can reach out to me or to my staff with specific questions.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. So this is a companion item to the county side where I will be presenting the summary of the audit report for the Amador County Unified School District for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2025. Similarly to the audit was conducted by Christy White, LLC, and was completed in January of 2026. And as noted previously, this is typically due to the state in December 15th, but due to the extended government shutdown in the fall, it was pushed back for the timeline where the district was granted an extension by the state due to this particular reason. And then as noted before too, the generally accepted accounting principles and the government accounting standards were used for this audit. So financial highlights, again, the audit report provides detailed overview of the district's financial activities, whereas in the fall we presented the unaudited actuals, now we see the audited financials. Overall, the general fund revenues were $60,356,230, less than expenses of $62,730,18, reflecting the district's deficit spending. This resulted in the general fund's ending fund balance decreasing by $2,373,788, and resulting in an ending fund balance of $5,977,142. Of that, roughly $6 million, specifically our unrestricted fund balance, decreased to $2,089,225. And then just some things to note here from year over year. We had some major swings in the beginning fund balance, and this had a lot to do actually with the COP funds. One thing you'll notice is net financing sources and uses. And so you'll see $16,328,000 in the prior year and $15,148,000 out the year after. This was the transfer into the COP funds, transfer out of the COP funds from one year to the next as we moved it from Fund 1 to Fund 40. And so we had discussed from a CDE communication at the last board meeting, and with this audit, you will also see that because of this adjustment, that transfer out is included in our expenditure total. You don't see it in the 62 million. Basically, you add those two figures together, the 15 million and the 62, to give the total expenditures for the reserve requirement calculation. And so we did not meet the minimum 3%, but we would have had it not been for the COP transfer. Just wanted to clarify that. Other areas of note, we kind of went over this the other one here, but they're the operational and future risks outlined in the audit: enrollment decline, pension obligations, and federal funding uncertainty. And then when you look at the prior year audit findings, we did not have any repeat findings. So from 23-24, we had the attendance reporting noted, as well as the ratio of administrators to employees. Both of those were cleared out this last year with the solutions that we put in place working. So then we moved to the audit finding for this year. For this year, we did have a new finding. This is the home to school transportation reimbursement plan. Just to give background, per Education Code 39800.1A1 requires that the home to school transportation reimbursement plan be adopted by the LEA's governing board on or before April 1 annually. And so for the 24-25 fiscal year, ACUSD did not update this plan prior to April 1, which results in what's called a question cost of $368,661, or the total essentially of the home to school reimbursement funding received in the 24-25 fiscal year. The district did formally adopt and approve a transportation plan in August of 2025. Again, it still was late by the Ed Code standard when we first learned of the error, so we made sure to get it approved at that time, as well as approved our current 2026 plan to ensure the district met the Ed Code requirement for this year. So to that end, upon the CDE's review and confirmation of our question cost, the district will formally appeal the finding in what is called a summary review. So essentially, we can't do anything until the CDE formalizes our audit and formalizes the finding to then go and appeal this. Essentially, the transportation plan has to do with targeting these funds toward key areas, which we do in our current plans and operations, targeting at TK to 6, low-income students and vulnerable populations, which our current routes and plans do. And therefore, we have essentially complied with the spirit of the plan, and so the district may be able to maintain these funds. However, we cannot formally appeal this process until, again, the CD acknowledges this. So in the meantime, to ensure this never happens again, the district has developed a corrective action plan to prevent future oversight. The district has implemented the following measures, basically standardizing our compliance calendar with consistent reminders, check-ins, et cetera, to make sure that all statutory deadlines are met and we don't miss this, as well as a formalized timeline for this particular one, where in January, February, the conversations begin with the Director of Transportation as well as the Assistant Superintendent for Business Services to review the plan following the governor's budget proposal. And then come March, the plan is formally presented to the board, not once but twice, where the first is a reading, the second one is an adoption. This provides accountability and documentation to make sure that we have that this is all taken care of, and that all the records are maintained in a digital compliance folder. So when we get to the audit time, everything is taken care of there. Okay. So with that, overall, the internal controls and compliance, there were no material weakness or non-compliance found by the auditors. And the conclusion was that the financial statements were presented fairly and in accordance with accounting principles. At this time, the findings have been addressed and systems put in place, so as we continue. So at this time, I recommend the board approve the 24-25 annual audit, and I'm available for any questions you may have.
Okay. Questions, Claire?
No.
Okay. Peter?
I'm grateful we have plans in place to fix it. That's wonderful. I'm glad that we complied with the spirit of the law. What is the approximate timeline when you'll be able to notify us what the result of that, when will we appeal, what ballpark?
Sure. So it all depends on the CD at this point. So they now have our audit report. And so as soon as we get that confirmation, which could be anywhere from a week to a month, we can then at that point, we have 30 days to appeal. And so we'll be that basically the day we get it.
Okay, so please let us know when that happens and what the results are.
We'll keep providing updates.
Okay, Ken?
Okay, so right now, the 368,000 is an expense, but it could flip to a neutral on that. It wouldn't be a revenue, but it would disappear as an expense.
So it would come in the form of a reduced revenue. So yes, essentially you could think of it as an expense. It could be.
Okay. So time will tell.
Shane?
History-wise, how has the district been when we have these audits? Has it been similar to this, or?
I mean, we've had clean audits. We have audit findings. I mean, that's why we go through this process. So it's been very dependent on the year. This particular transportation requirement is very new. I think when it should have been passed was the second year that Ed Code was in force. And so, yeah, that wouldn't be a finding that goes back multiple years. But it's very dependent. We've changed audit firms multiple times through the years as well. So
It seems like they're doing a much better than we'd had a few years ago.
They've been great.
Yeah,
they're very thorough.
Thank you.
James?
No, I have no questions.
I'm going to assume something, and I probably shouldn't, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. The home to transportation plan that is submitted is the transportation director's responsibility? Okay.
What does that mean?
The plan that we're talking about that wasn't submitted on time,
Oh, that's
that plan is the responsibility of the transportation director
to be,
to be submitted,
and it was not.
and it was not. And so now we might be out $300-something thousand that we've already paid. So are we going to be paying that back? It will just be deducted from next year's funding? How does that work?
So at this point, we're not sure because we will be appealing the finding. It could be the CD then agrees with that, or actually there's a formal board that reviews it to make the decision. If they agree that we don't need to, then we'll keep the funds as is that we already received. Essentially, the other option is that if they decide against the appeal, then basically we would have to give the funds back.
Okay. I'm trying to find a good word to say. I'm going to put that this angers me, that this has happened again. However, I do appreciate that we have plans in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again. And I have talked about this before when we talk about accountability, and that transportation director no longer is employed by the district. So I think that we've got our bases covered in that sense. However, moving forward, these kind of mistakes are so consequential to the district and the finances. We don't have the room in the budget to do this over and over and over again. So again, I do appreciate that we've got things in place. We have had some accountability. This person no longer works here. But I just felt that that needed to be shared. Okay, any other change, or Ken, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just as a district, we have to stop playing the blame game on people that aren't with us anymore. And there needs to be steps, and I know you're working on it, that we're gonna have a list of certain reports have to be done. So there needs to be more than one person that's in charge of these reports moving forward. Because I don't want to come to another board meeting here that it was X's fault and X is not in our universe anymore. So that's to me, that's no excuse. So moving forward, let's not have this happen again.
Okay, any further questions or comments for Mr. Norton? If not, then we would just need a motion to accept the audit.
Move to approve item 14.1, acceptance of fiscal year 2024-25 annual audit report.
Second?
And the vote, Claire?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Aye.
I'm also a yes. Okay, moving on to item 14.2, the approval of strategic reinvestment in student nutrition, implementation of the 25-26 food service spending plan initiatives. We do have.
And remember, we're only doing item C.
C. We do have a comment card on that though. Ronnie Gold.
Sorry. Okay. I watched the last presentation on the farm. I think it's super cool. My kids have come home and said they've watched videos about it. They're very excited to be eating food that's being grown here. I think what that lesson alone is worth its weight in gold. I was wondering if you guys have ever considered this an option, or if it even is an option. I know every meal that the kids eat have to match a certain nutritional value. If you've ever considered contracting with like local businesses to facilitate certain things, since I know it seems like our food has not a surplus of money, but has money in it to spend. For example, like Ray's Taking Big Pizzas. It doesn't have to be a weekly thing. It could be like maybe once a month, and it can bounce around from different campus to campus throughout the school district. But contracting on with local businesses to provide some sort of services like that, I feel like helps the kitchen staff out, maybe like not a day off, but a little less hard work. The food that is being made by local businesses like that is obviously homemade, it's fresh. it's kind of like a scratch my back, scratch your back. A lot of local businesses contribute to the youth in various ways with donations and things like that. If that is an outlet that is doable, I would like to see, I don't know, maybe that pathway be taken. And there's obviously tons of food restaurants and people willing to do stuff like that. So just an idea thrown out there. I don't know. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you follow up with that, Mr. Critchfield?
Yeah, we can ask Mr. Pingree. He's our expert on all the rules regarding food.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I have a feeling. I know. I just have a feeling. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay. Okay, so we will go ahead and talk about that. Item 14.2C, approval of contract with Foothill Appliance for walk-in fridge and freezer replacement at Amador High School.
Thank you, Board. As part of our food service spending plan, we are looking to address equipment needs, equipment pieces within our kitchens that need upgrades, repair, replacement, et cetera. For this agenda item, we are looking specifically at replacing our walk-in fridge and freezer at Amador High School. The size of the fridge is currently too small for the volume needs, and with the goal of an expanded menu, a new one is required. In addition, the floor of the freezer is in need of replacement, which at this point makes more sense to replace than repair. With that said, we went out to bid on replacements for these items and would like to move forward with Foothill Appliances quote. Not only were they the most affordable, provided in-house demolition of the current fridge and freezer, and have been great to work with in the past, and are local. So if there are any issues that do arise, they'll be really quick to respond and help us out with. So to that end, we recommend the board approve of the walk-in fridge and freezer at Amador High School with purchase through Foothill Appliance, and I'm available for any questions the board has.
Any questions or comments, Claire?
No.
Peter?
I guess I'm just not clear under the supporting documents of item 2-C, why the CDE email approval for the 2 food trucks, food trailer, whatever, what that has to do with the walk-in.
So one of the things in that mix of emails, there's also the approval for the walk-in fridge and freezer.
Okay, thank you.
It's just we combine them all into one attachment.
Got it, thanks.
Okay. Ken, any questions? Jane?
On the attachments, and maybe I'm just misreading it, the Don and Company quote, total of 56,000, and the one that's being recommended is Foothill Appliance.
So the issue there has to do with Don & Co. does not do tear down and disposal of the current equipment. So, which is why in the feature above, I combined not only that one, but also the IEC quote, because basically they would come in and dispose of and dismantle, and then the Don & Co. could come in. So in terms of the equipment costs, we didn't break it out that way, so we combined the two. So all the other quotes took disposal of the equipment in there. So that's why, yes, the equipment comes in itself, maybe less, but when you combine that with the other, it doesn't.
Was there any consideration of finding someone that would do the demo alone?
So that was what IEC was. They actually were
okay.
researched to do the demo alone.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So to do the Don & Co., you have to combine the IEC quote with the Don & Co. So it's like 73, 74.
It ended up being over 73.
Okay.
Okay. James, any questions or comments?
In the presentation, you said repair the repair.
If I said that, then I apologize. It was
Okay.
repair and or replace.
Okay. In my head, repair the repair. Well, how long did the first repair last? How long is this going to last? But I still want to ask, how long is this going to last?
I'm not sure the product life of these pieces of equipment offhand.
Yeah. Okay.
The current walk-in at Amador is quite old. I can't even put an age to it.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. If we have no further questions or comments, we would just need a motion.
Move to approve item 14.2C, approval of contract with Foothill Appliance for walk-in fridge and freezer replacement at Amador High School.
Second.
Okay. And the vote, Claire?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Aye.
I'm also a yes. Okay, moving on to item 14.3, equipment agreement between Hunt and Sons LLC and Amador County Unified School District.
Good evening, Board President Parker and trustees. What's before you this evening is an equipment agreement between Hunt and Sons LLC and Amador County Unified School District. So with this particular opportunity, this is a 1,000-gallon fuel cube with an integrated 110-volt pump and fluid secure fuel monitoring system. Hunt and Sons would deliver petroleum products directly to our Amador County Unified School District transportation terminal located at 545 Independence Drive, Sutter Creek, California. The cost to the district would be for the petroleum products. The equipment that you see in this, in the attachment and also listed in the background information, it is considered a loan to the district as long as we continue to use their services of purchasing the petroleum products. The total loan value is $16,505.68. However, it does not require payment as long as we continue to use Hunt and Sons for our petroleum products. When that is no longer part of our future, then essentially we would lose the loan of that equipment and then have to go and try to find other methods. This particular approach is for the diesel fuel, which is used by our vehicles that use diesel fuel. It is going to be, for us, definitely far more convenient for all of our buses. There's a space in the terminal where they'll be able to access the fuel. It's going to cut down on time. Previously, all of our buses had to head over to the fueling station on 88. When that closed up, they're now having to go to other places here in the county. So it would facilitate fuel up, also take, for us, really cut down on the amount of time going over to and from the station, but more importantly, being able for us to be able to really take a look at those costs. We're recommending approval on this, and this has been I would say, quite a task to get this far. Hunt and Sons, when they shut down, started talking to us about doing this, but we've had to navigate through legal and some other avenues, but they are 100% supportive. And as I had stated in a previous meeting, they had already delivered the equipment to us pending this agreement to come into the board. And so it has not been utilized by us. It's been sitting over at the terminal. And then once the board takes action, we'll do all the necessary steps to begin utilizing it if you approve this evening. Thank you.
Real quick before we have our discussion, we did have a public comment card on this item. Patricia and Gija.
Thank you. Just to follow up with when I was talking about it on the warrants, just want the board task, the cabinet to clarify if it will result in lower fuel cost. So if we'll get some sort of deal on it, because I mean, a stone's throw away, there's a bunch of gas stations on the way back from all the school sites, so I don't know how much time it would save. I just hope it'll save money because the current warrant report shows that we spent $17,218.96 for just a 13-day period for Hunt and Sons. So just, it'd be nice to get, at a cheaper rate than say, I think, fast gas is usually the cheapest. It's always a penny less than John's Pit Stop. So yeah, that'd be a good thing to look into. Thank you.
Okay. So we will go ahead with questions or comments. Claire?
Dr. Palazuelos, real quick, sorry. This is for diesel, correct?
That is correct.
So that's what our large buses run on. So the other obstacle is numerous gas stations in the county.
Right.
You cannot pull a big bus
Right.
into them.
That's
So
what
even
I
if
was
they
gonna-
have a good price, the bus cannot safely get in and out of the gas station as well.
Thank you. That was gonna be my question because it says fuel. It doesn't say diesel.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a gasoline cube or a diesel cube.
It's diesel.
Diesel cube. Thank you.
Okay. Claire?
No.
Peter?
I just have the question on logistics. Given this is something new, right? We haven't done this before. Is one pump and that 1,000 gallons sufficient to handle our needs? Where I don't know how it works, time of day, what series of order is that okay? Another way, if we look strictly at dollars, for example, are we spending extra money paying someone to fill this bus up, then fill that bus up? Or is this logistically going to work with just the one pump?
Well, and that's one of the great things with this. What we've what we've been really fortunate with is Hunt and Sons really want to be partners with us on this. So this is the cube that they started with. They delivered it to us. What they'll be doing is analyzing it with our team to look at utilization. Is this enough? And if not, they've already told us that they could come back and bring a newer agreement with a larger size cube if that were the case. It's not something that, we haven't even turned it on yet or used it. So I would say, trustees, once we get moving, if it turns out that they're having, because again, this all has to do with their access to it as well. So if we start running out of fuel sooner, they're having to bring trucks sooner. So part of it's going to be us really navigating if this is enough, and if not, working with them on a larger or maybe a second one.
Most of our big buses fuel 2 to 3 times a week. So they don't fuel every day. Their tanks are large enough where they can go every 2 to 3 days before fueling up. So you're not going to have every bus fueling every day at that terminal. They also, when they return to the yard, return at a variety of times. They don't all come back at the same time because obviously each route is so different.
So do the drivers themselves fill it up then, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a fuel card from Hunt and Sons that goes with that particular vehicle. And
Got it.
so then they will, that's part of the, there's the electronic components on this as well. They will still swipe the card at our own terminal. And so we'll be able to monitor each bus, how much fuel it's using.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Ken?
So is the location for Hunt and Sons that we used to fill up at, is that permanently closed?
Permanently closed.
They told us, I believe, the first week in December that it was closing, and a few days later, they were literally tearing the tanks out. So I don't know what exactly happened, but they shut it down very quickly.
What have we been doing since then?
We've been having to use retail outlets here in the community, including up on 88 and Pine Grove, and anywhere that we can safely get our buses into.
Do we know what our fuel costs were for the last 3 months versus the previous 3 months as a comparison?
I'd have to look to our chief business official on that.
And we'd have to do an analysis.
Okay. Because it sounds to me like we're getting the tank and the monitoring system as a way for Hunt and Sons to keep our business. So I don't know why we're seeing these numbers here. And I'm just curious as if we do break the contract with Hunt and Sons down the road, do they just take their equipment back for no cost? Or is there going to be a prorated charge for the tank and the fuel monitoring system?
Everything that is spelled out in this agreement is what it is. They're providing it for use with their petroleum products. If we had told them that we no longer wanted to use it, we're no longer interested in working with them, they would take their equipment back.
At no cost to us?
There was no discussion of cost to us if this agreement were terminated.
Okay, so we should probably get that in the agreement. And also, did we go out to bid with any other fuel companies?
This is the only fuel company that was able to provide services to us.
Okay.
And then I will add to this, we're not the only entity in the county that's working with Hunt and Sons. I believe the county government is trying to work on a potential spot somewhere in the county to do something similar as well.
Yeah, no, I would imagine so. Okay, thank you.
You got it?
Okay, Shane?
Could we get kind of update on how it's going after whatever, a couple months, just to see how if there's been any issues with the buses getting filled, or if they run out of fuel in the tank, just to give us an update on if we have to look at increasing the size or the number of tanks, or
I'll work with the superintendent if that's something we can make based on the board request. Absolutely.
Has the district at any point, and this is kind of general to anyone, has it ever been a consideration for biodiesel? We have, we have a lot of discussion about the food program, and if we're doing a lot of food cooking, I know that some places they've done biodiesel to lower their cost. One of the comments was people can smell the hamburgers when they're riding the buses, but sometimes that might be not too bad. But has that ever been a consideration, or?
I'm not aware.
Not in my time at the district office.
Okay.
Explored biodiesel.
Thank you.
James?
With the Hunt and Son cards, the district didn't have enough data to be able to determine whether this 1,000-gallon tank was going to be enough?
So in the discussions with Hunt and Sons, based on the utilization, they said that this tank would support. However, if there was an increase in demand for the fuel, based on the cycle that our superintendent talked about, they would be prepared to bring in a larger volume, either a second unit or a larger volume unit.
So I hear you, and when you say that, I also hear the word if. We don't have the data that states how much gallons of fuel that we use. I was a yard boss in Guam and was in charge of many pieces of equipment that were ran by diesel, and that is documented, detailed.
We average less than 1,000 gallons
Okay,
per week.
cool.
So
Perfect.
Yeah. So we average less than 1,000. You know, you could have a high week if there's field trips and other things going on where we go over. Ideally, Hunt and Sons wants to come out only once a week to refuel the tank. So if we, you know, get in a position where we start using more than 1,000 gallons a week consistently, then they may want to bring in a second tank or a larger tank.
Okay. You had mentioned the other entities within the county. I had actually been approached by a couple supervisors questioning what was happening because I don't know why, but mini gas, I mean, we can speculate why, state of California, laws, environmental stuff. I've been told that all single-lined tanks must be pulled and replaced with dual-line tanks. That's why the closing of many fuel stations. So with that, the county, and I'm sure other entities are trying to figure this out as well. I think somebody said, have we done our due diligence with trying to figure out with them, hey, let's partner up, let's buy this, let's do that, let's, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, so we're working on those conversations. I think the main thing for this has a 60-day notification window, and it's a
Right.
cube above ground. So this is
bladder.
this could be a long-term solution, but it also could be a very short-term if a more long-term solution is then created through a partnership.
And we're negotiating those as we speak.
Not currently negotiating. I know the county was looking
talking
into,
about 'em.
the county was looking into an option at the airport, at the local
yep.
airport. And so I have not heard how far that's going, but let's say they make something like that happen and they want to partner with us, all we would have to do is give a 60-day notification, and we would no longer have to have that cube or use it and be able to go that direction.
Do these entities know that we are willing to conversate about this, or
We will
do not
follow up
want
with
to?
all of them. No, I mean, we're interested in, I know, because I know now if you go to a gas station in the county, it's more common to see law enforcement vehicles, Amador Rapid Transit, a school bus, right? You're seeing, where you didn't normally see those as often at our local gas stations. And so I know everybody's working on it. So yeah, we'll be reaching out.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
I think we've asked good questions. I just wanted to be clear, this is a 60-day period, and it can be terminated by a 60-day written notice. So we don't have to continue on with this if it's something that isn't actually
Yeah, this is
beneficial.
not a multi-year agreement. This is,
Okay.
yeah, based on the terms there.
Okay. All right, if there's no more questions or discussion, we would just need a motion.
I move that we approve item 14.3, equipment agreement between Hunt and Sons LLC and Amador County Unified School District.
Second.
Okay, Claire?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Aye.
I'm also a yes.
Thank you, trustees.
Okay, item 14.4, approval of E-rate Category 1 and Category 2 service agreements for 2026 and 27.
Thank you, Board. For this item, we have two E-rate service agreements for approval. E-rate projects and equipment provide school districts with discounts on equipment and services related to connectivity that is to the school and as well as connectivity that's within the school. And so this, you'll see actually one of each, a Category 1 and a Category 2. For item 4-A, we have an agreement for the 26-27 school year that comes in at a 70% discount to provide Ethernet transport services through Volcano Telephone Company to Pine Grove and Pioneer Elementary. The rates are the exact same as last year, and our technology team has been highly complimentary of their services provided to our school. So this is essentially a renewal from the prior year plan, and they've not increased their costs at all. So this is the same exact cost we currently have budgeted this year. And then for item 4B, we have an agreement with Gigacom to provide firewall services for our district for next year. This involved a competitive bid search, which yielded 3 company submissions, which led to Gigacom scoring the highest amongst its competitors, with the categories including cost, technical compliance, and bidder capabilities. Total cost for the firewall for next year is $15,285.95 for our school district, and this will come out of Fund 1. This is essentially a renewal of the firewall product. We are actually already using this firewall product, but from a different company, CDWG, from this last year. So Gigacom basically had the best bid when we went back out to bid for this product. So at this time, I recommend the board approve items 4A and 4B, but I'm available for any questions the board may have.
Okay. Questions or comments, Claire?
No.
Peter?
So if I understand correctly, both of these services are basically a transmission signal software monitoring, that type of thing. We're not running new hardware.
No.
We're strictly keeping business as usual going.
Correct. Basically, the first one's for internet services. The second one's for a firewall.
So this is our internet service provider as well. It's not just we've got wires that we're sending signal. They are our ISP for these schools.
Volcano is, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Ken?
No questions.
Shane?
Volcano, is that basically our only option?
I believe it is up there. I think there are other alternatives you could look to, but I think this is the one that's really hardwired up there.
The last several times we went out to bid for services for E-rate, Volcano was the only one that could handle Pine Grove and Pioneer schools.
The, what's the Mars guy's name?
Starlink.
That guy, yeah. I'm guessing that.
That's where I would say that's another potential option, but I believe from their prices would be above even what this is.
Thank you.
James?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. I don't have any questions either, so we would just need a motion.
Okay, move to approve item 14.4, A and B, approval of E-rate Category 1 and Category 2 service agreements for 26 and 27.
Second.
Okay, and the vote, Claire?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
I'm also a yes. Okay, we don't have any discussion items. We're going to go ahead and move on to item 16, the board policy updates. 16.A. All right, so we will go ahead, and we do have a comment card on this item. So Ty Polskamp.
I didn't think I'd be the first person to talk about it. Is this the right spot? This is the parent rights and responsibilities. And if I understand correctly now, last session was the first school board meeting I've been to in quite a while. But it sounded like it's your job to say the policy is a thing and it's their job to figure out how it's done, right? Okay. Obviously, the how is very important, and so that's these folks here, right? And so I really think this is an exciting opportunity. I think we're in a community that is sort of deprived of a lot of information, and a lot of folks are nervous about a lot of things. And so each time that contact is initiated to meet the needs of this new requirement, it's an opportunity to share that lesson with this entire community. And so I'm not really sure what all of these lessons are. It sounds like a lot of work, like the logistics, but maybe a lot of that has already been happening. I'm not really sure how much parent notification already happens. I'm neither a student nor a parent. But I do think it's an exciting opportunity because say you're talking about something like suicide or like what you call health hygiene or sex or whatever, sex ed or whatever, that maybe the people at home haven't gotten that up-to-date information. Maybe the people at home are nervous, like sort of like you might be learning about the earth being round for the first time. You know, it's an opportunity to share and initiate a conversation So I think that how it's done really will show where we are as a community right now, where you are as a district, and kind of what we're capable of doing together. I understand that the Moms for Liberty were the driving force in the 2,300 books that are currently banned in the state of Florida. I had no idea who they were until your last little session here, but that's a lot of effort. It's a lot of books. It happens to be the number of people in the town I was raised in when I was growing up in Sutter Creek. Seems odd. So I'd just be careful on who you're talking to, who you're listening to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead and move into 16.1, adoption of board policies.
So we had a pretty lengthy discussion last board meeting about these items. And, it's one of the reasons why typically we like to do a first reading and approval, because there may be other things that have now come up. And so we don't have a presentation on these items tonight as they were discussed last time. But obviously, if other points have been brought up or concerns or questions, Mrs. Horn has done a lot of homework on this as well to prepare herself for this meeting. And so she is our main point of contact for you tonight if you have further questions. And I just want to make sure we're delineating, we're focused on item 16.1, items A and B. Each of those two items has 3 board policies, and in B, Roman numeral 3 is actually a deletion. If approved, would be a deletion of that policy.
Okay, we will just start off. Claire, any questions or comments?
No.
Peter?
I just wanted to say I appreciate that some members of the public chose to reach out to me. I will be honest that I am not, okay, how do I put this clearly? I am not very adept at forcing myself to go on Facebook and try to track all the different things people are saying. So I do appreciate that those who truly were interested in knowing my thoughts chose to make a phone call or chose to reach out via email. And that to me is very helpful. I appreciated that these 2 people who I guess had misunderstood some of what I said last meeting wanted to talk about it. And so I just want to emphasize that that's the thing, right? That I am very interested and willing to have conversations with anyone who chooses to. And I think the same applies to our other members of the board and certainly to Mr. Critchfield, who's publicly offered that many, many times. So I just encourage you to use the process. I'm sorry, I'm not going to change my ways. I'm not going to become the Facebook expert. It's just not going to happen. But I am eager to discuss with anyone that wants to actually have a real conversation and talk about the issues. I am grateful that this particular policy that was somewhat contentious, item 5020, parent rights and responsibilities, that I think the Supreme Court is trying to strike a balance, and that there is giving more effort toward greater parent rights while still maintaining a curriculum that strives for inclusion and empathy. So anyway, grateful for the members of the public who choose to communicate with me directly.
Ken?
No additional questions since last meeting.
Shane?
Just repeating what I've said previously, the board policies are focused on what is the best interest of our students, and also how the faculty and everyone interacts with our students, and also takes into account what the parents, what their rights are. Bottom line is, have empathy for everyone else, and instead of looking for the differences, look at what everyone is as far as the same, what's in common. I think that at times when people get heated about certain subjects, like this one that was at the last board meeting, I think that should not push to the side that everyone's a student, everyone has family, and everyone deserves to be treated the same. Thank you.
Thank you. James?
I have questions about 60/20, but I wanna touch on something from the other board meeting. It's hard for anyways. A word was used that stung me for a while. The word hate, and I took some serious thinking moments, some processing moments, and my what I came up with was, and I actually posted it on Facebook. What I came up with is, because I disagree with you doesn't mean it's hate. Doesn't mean I hate anybody. Doesn't mean I hate them, you, us, it. The weather. The weather. It doesn't mean I hate it because we disagree about it. And I want to let people know that just because we disagree, it doesn't mean we hate. With that being said, the board policy 60/20, and it's nothing scary. It's just I need a better understanding of the red marked version, because red means incoming, right?
Yes.
Scroll down to, I believe, page 2. It says the board shall establish and convene a parent advisory committee. Okay, I understand that. And as applicable, an English learner parent advisory committee. I've never heard of that before.
We have it. We refer to it as DLAC.
Okay.
District ELAC. So the DLAC committee is our English language learner parent committee. And we have APAC, which is our Amador parent committee that meets quarterly, 3-4 times a year.
So because we call it something, do you think we should put it in there so others know? No? Or are we going to use their verbiage and acronym?
No, I mean, this is something that we're actually already doing, though. We have a parent advice. You can name your parent advisory committee
Okay.
something specific, but it has to be identified as your parent advisory committee. So we call it the Amador Parent Advisory Committee, and then that's the DLAC is the District English Learner Parent Advisory Committee.
Okay.
And so, Patty, we don't just explain like who runs those committees and
Yeah, that'd be great.
participation?
I run the APAC.
Okay.
So I meet with representatives in the beginning of the school year. I ask principals to nominate a parent representative to the Amador Parent Advisory Committee. Usually somebody who's on their school site council, not always, but a lot of times. They'll nominate a parent. We meet at least once per trimester, more if we need to get input. They also help drive the LPAC, our initiatives in the spending. We do that LPAC check-in every year, and then every 3 years when we rewrite the LPAC, it's that group that helps really give some stakeholder input. DLAC is currently run by our principal, Joe Horacek. So I know you're familiar, but in case the board is unfamiliar, our 3 smaller principals have other duties. So Pioneer, Plymouth, and Pine Grove. And Principal Horacek at Plymouth runs our district English learner. And that committee is made up of our bilingual aides and our active parents of our English language learners. And it's overseen by Principal Horacek. And they do the same thing. They give input on our LPAC. They give input on the things that the kids are learning and the direction we're going. And we operate those at almost the same frequency, about once a trimester.
Is Mr. Horacek bilingual?
Well, he's way more bilingual than I am. He'll tell you probably not because he doesn't like to, but he's quite good.
Okay. I was curious. Okay.
We, at our 3 smaller elementary schools, historically, we've given those principals other district duties. And so that's Mr. Horacek's main duty outside of being principal of Plymouth Elementary.
Nice. Okay, thank you. I just wasn't sure what it was, but now that you used our acronym, I know what it is.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm sure you've heard it many times.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't have anything else on this. I will kind of reiterate what I said. I think that these board policies, I think, nothing changes in what California requires is taught in the classrooms, but it does give parents just the option, their rights to opt out of things that they choose to. And so I think that that's important on both fronts. With that, then it just looks like we would need a motion for.
Kayla, can I?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
James, when you mentioned about the word hate, I hope you don't think I was referring to you when I used that. My word, when I used that at the last meeting, my word or my usage of the word hate stems from what I see in the world. My family has experienced it. Back in I know you guys are going to be shocked on the year, 1918, my grandfather, full-blooded Sioux Indian, went to World War I, and I just found out in the last few months he was one of the first code talkers in World War I. And I was amazed when I heard that, and I saw that interview about him. And in 1944, he he was shot and killed because of his skin color. When I hear people, with one of the speakers at the last meeting, they talked about parents' rights, and I did not see the policy as that. I saw that as trying to, like she had mentioned, walk the fine line. And I really think that there's still hate in the world. Just a brief detail. My grandfather was in a town off the reservation, and the deputy attempted to make an example of him, tried to club him, and my grandfather took the club so that he wouldn't be made an example of, and they shot him and threw him in jail. And, that's my own history. I would never say anyone up here is hate. I see what's going on in the world. The way people are treated today because of their skin color, it's hate. The way people are treated because they're different than others, that's hate. And that's what I meant, and I don't want you or anyone to think that I would be referring to you as being hateful, and I'm sorry if you took that as that. That was not my intent. My intent was from my own 6 years of experience and of living in places where I've seen it. So that was all. Thank you.
I appreciate your explanation. Thank you. And your apology.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments on this item? If not, then we would just need a motion for 16.1.
I make a motion that we approve agenda item 16.1 A and B, adoption of board policies.
Second?
Okay, and the vote, Claire?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Aye.
I'm also a yes.
Okay, with item 16.2, this is a little bit different than what we've been doing recently. Board bylaw 9310 allows the board to waive a first reading and adopt board policies in the same night that they first appear on an agenda. Typically, like I've said, we like to do a first reading and then bring it back at a second board meeting for an adoption. In these board policies, there are connections to some state mandates that require that the board pass these policies prior to March 1st. This is our last meeting prior to March 1st. And so obviously there will be discussion about this because this is the first time as a board you're seeing these. But if approved, when the motion is made, the motion will just need to be made as waiving the first reading and moving to adopt the policies this evening.
Okay, so we will just open it up for discussion. Claire, any questions or comments?
I don't know if Mrs. Horn has anything she wants to say about them or
sure.
just wait for questions, sorry.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
Nope, you did just,
Okay.
this, occasionally we get board policies that don't fit the structure we set up last year that come in between, that have to be done, and they are time sensitive, and this is a perfect example of one of them.
Okay. Claire, any questions or comments?
No.
No? Okay. Peter?
I just appreciate that the CSBA and that, I know we complain about lawyers costing too much, but they are a part of the way things work. And for what it's worth, I don't know how much this costs us to be a part of this subscription, but the Lozano-Smith briefs we get, I find to be highly valuable. So anyway, having said that, I do appreciate that the CSBA and their team are trying to help make sure we are in compliance with state law. Yes, there are sometimes conflicts between state law and federal law as regards to immigration and enforcement, which is some of the subject matter of these policies. I personally believe that school is not the place to try to enforce immigration, and so appreciate that we have clear policies in place to help our staff know what to do. So, thank you.
Okay. Ken? No questions. Shane? No questions. James?
I don't have any questions or comments.
I don't have any questions or comments. I do just want to say that in response to immigration enforcement, I think that it's important that we have conversations with our law enforcement partners in the county just to ensure that everybody is on the same page and that our administrators and staff aren't burdened with those kind of decisions and situations.
Either Mrs. Horn or I will reach out to our three police, if approved tonight, we will reach out to our three police chiefs and Sheriff Redmond
Okay.
to explain to them the policy that was approved so that they
Okay.
know where the district stands on this particular item.
And then we'll have protocol in place that our administrators will know also?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, other than that, I don't have any questions or comments. This is an action item. Are we gonna just vote on that one particular one, or are we doing all?
You can group all of them together, A through C.
Okay. Okay, then we would just need a motion.
I make a motion to move that the board waive the requirement of a second reading under Board Bylaw 9310, and that the board adopt policy number 045013401445, 5125, 5125.1, and delete policy number 5145.13 as presented on this board action item.
Second.
Okay, and the motion, Claire?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
James?
Aye.
I'm also a yes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to board reports. Mr. Critchfield?
Yeah. Claire's here, so I'm not going to talk about Argonaut sports tonight. You got it tonight, Claire? Okay, I might add. I'll let you go first. I don't want to steal any thunder. I mainly want to focus tonight on thanking transportation and maintenance employees and Pioneer Elementary staff. The decision on snow days is always a joy. And it is something that I just want everyone to know that we wrestle with because we want kids in school, right? But at the same time, we want safety. And so there's this balance. I get very familiar with Dirk Verdorn and everybody else this time of year and watch the weather way too much to try to find out what's going on I'm also grateful for our security cameras because they also provide me with a very real-time update of what the snow level looks like at Pioneer and Pine Grove Elementary schools. But to put it in perspective, yesterday we had less than 100 kids that actually showed up for school at Pioneer Elementary. And the staff that was there did an amazing job. Our maintenance staff, I don't know, we own our own plow. We did that several years ago because we got in a position where we were waiting. There are only so many plows in the county, and we were waiting and couldn't open school because our own driveway couldn't be plowed. And so we decided to take matters into our own hands, and we own our own plow. We have staff that are trained on it. I don't know how many times they passed the plow yesterday at Pioneer. It was a lot to keep that parking lot clear. And we had a couple of instances with buses. Students were safe. Local CHP did an amazing job. They did, when a bus pulls over for a stop and roads have been plowed, it can be difficult to get back on the road. And so a couple of times that occurred, and CHP was able to pull the buses back out. We got everybody home. Everybody was able to stay safe, but it was a little bit of a wild ride yesterday. So I'm not going to name names tonight because I don't want to miss anybody. But hopefully you know who you are, our maintenance employees, transportation employees, and Pioneer Elementary staff in particular for how they handled everything yesterday.
Okay, Claire?
So for ASB, we just had our Green and Gold Gala at St. Sava with the Lions Club, and we profited from their donations, $22,000, and it significantly helped us, especially our dessert auction. And Mr. Marzano gave me 2 of the cinnamon rolls he paid a couple $100 for, and they were really delicious. But this is a great way that we fundraised for our castle. I had 2.
Oh, it was 400.
Oh, 400.
Straight to the rest of the kids.
Okay, it's $400. I didn't take 4. But it was a super good dinner. I think it was very enjoyable and fun, and that's something that we definitely want to keep continuing for the following years. And then for FFA, on February 7th, we attended the Motherlode section speaking contest, and then Hayden Diedick is moving on to the region speaking contest for placing 3rd, and then 5 other Argonaut FFA members placed top 8 for their specific speaking contest. And then National FFA Week is coming up next week, and our Ag Leadership class has been working very hard to create a fun and engaging activity for each day for FFA members to participate in. And then our school farm is doing really well. I think on last Friday, we harvested over 100 pounds of kale, which is super great to see it go into the cafeterias next week, and seeing how much we can grow in just a short amount of time, because I think the week or 2 prior they had planted it, or a month, something like that. And it's already ready for harvesting. And then I'm not very knowledgeable on a lot of sports right now, but because I wasn't here the last meeting, our cheerleading team placed 4th in the nation at nationals in Florida, which was very amazing and cool. And then as basketball is coming to an end, our boys basketball is currently in playoffs, and they just beat Golden Sierra tonight and is moving on to the 2nd round. And then baseball, softball, swimming, and track are all starting, and preseason games have also started. But that's all I have. Thank you.
And I'll just add, I'm a little biased. My daughter graduated last year, but she was on the soccer team. The girls' soccer team at Argonaut did lose their game tonight, unfortunately, 1-0 in the section semis. But that team, 3 years in a row, has either made the section championship game or the section semis. And so we don't have too many teams at Amador Argonaut that can say that. We have a few that can, but anyways, I just want to congratulate that team, and they're going to be really good again next year, so I would anticipate more from them in the playoffs. But yeah, they had to bear the weather. Soccer doesn't get as much attention now as it used to because for some reason they decided to move it to the winter, and it is a lot of fun to sit out there on metal bleachers in the winter with soccer. And those girls brave it for a couple of months, so I just want to congratulate the Argonaut girls soccer team as well. And then Amador girls basketball won their first playoff game last night, so they stayed alive. They are going to Liberty Ranch Friday night, a familiar foe in our league. And then because the boys won, and they are the 2 seed in the section at Argonaut for basketball, it is a home game Friday night, I believe slated for 6 p.m.
All right. Perfect. Okay. Peter?
Well, I already kind of expressed my gratitude to those community members who choose to reach out, so I just wish to reiterate that. Please reach out with additional comments or concerns. I am really impressed by praise Ms. Gold, thank you. And I do wish to reiterate that I am grateful for the opportunity to serve on the board. I do think that we get along fairly well, even if we don't always agree 100%. And so just want to repeat, it is an honor to serve, and I'm looking forward to upcoming board visits.
Okay, thank you. Ken?
Okay, I just want to mention that I'm very excited for next Tuesday, I believe, the grand opening of the introduction of the school farm. And that's an open invite to everybody if you'd like to come out. I know there's postings on Facebook and what have you about it, but that's a very exciting step forward to the involvement of our students and stuff, and it's just a life skill that they can learn, so I'm excited about that. And I also wanted to address the last couple meetings, there's been questions presented about, hey, what are we doing about the Healthcare Advisory Committee? I myself also asked that question. There has been an ACUSD, ACOE Healthcare Advisory Committee formed. Their first meeting was December 16th of 2025. It does involve all 4 bargaining units and the confidential management staff. They have another meeting, I believe it's next week. So I'm just, scheduled for February 25th. I'm just very glad that that has been formed, and I look forward to some feedback from that committee. Thank you.
Okay, great. Shane?
Just want to congratulate our sports teams and wish them good luck as they move on. What I said in the county meeting, for maintenance issues, make sure that if it comes up, the teachers start with their principal so that we can stay on top of it. Maintenance is always going to be an issue, so that's going to help keep things going. Probably going to see a lot more leaks in these next few days, so hopefully we can keep those under control, and I think that's it.
James?
Just to repeat from the county meeting, I attended the Green and Gold Gala, first annual Green and Gold Gala. Looking forward to the next one in November. Do you know the date?
It might be moved around because it's right after downtown rally, right before big game.
Okay.
So we might be moving it around, but either November or December.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to the Green and Gold Gala upcoming, the second annual. It was a great event. The dessert auction was fun to watch. I believe a chocolate cake sold for $1,600. Yes, chocolate. It was a great event. I attended the amazing Ione Rotary Club crab feed. The reason why I say these events was these people that attend these events, these amazing people, are our community members and our parents and uncles and grandparents and even past alumni of the schools, and hearing them is extremely important to me, so I like to attend these things. They're great events. They raise money that go right back into our community, and they support our schools and our programs. Yes, I don't know if I had said that the girls did place 4th in the nation in Florida. I said it more than once?
You can say it more than once.
Oh, I can say it more than once. I'll say it 4 times, 4th in the nation. Those girls made history for not just Argonaut High School, but the community and the county as a whole. I think those young ladies deserve high praise, and I look forward to the drive to run it back again next year from the remaining girls, the seniors that graduate. My hat's off to them. They busted their butts. And again, the weather, it's pretty bad, so be safe. That's all.
Okay. Just don't forget to write those cinnamon rolls off on your taxes. But on a serious note, I do definitely appreciate the way that this board, while we don't agree on everything, that we are able to have discussions amicably and work things out and move forward. So I think that I'm definitely grateful for that. And I think that everyone on this board has the right intentions for being here. So that's it. Yeah.
If for some reason people didn't get the message and they're tuning in, it is a snow day tomorrow. We
Yes.
did make the decision this
There's
evening.
no school tomorrow.
No school tomorrow.
Okay, that being said, our next meeting is set for Wednesday, March 4th, here in this building. Open session starts at 7 o'clock. And with that, we are adjourned.